Welcome to the PreSnap Podcast presented by LineStar. All things fantasy football with a sprinkle of sports betting. We're looking at the Thursday night Week 9 matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Houston Texans. The Eagles coming into this one as 14-point favorites on the road. However, it's for a good reason. The Eagles rank third in offensive DVOA, second in pass defensive DVOA, and second in point differential in the league. Meanwhile, the Texans rank in the bottom third in all of those categories. So there's reason for it. Oh, yeah, they're undefeated.
Yeah, we got tough sledding for Houston this week. I mean, I guess every week's tough sledding for them, though.
They are
Struggle Street.
1-5-1. Meanwhile, the Eagles looking to go 8-0. That would be the first time ever in franchise history for them. So they're looking to chase a little history. Also, they've jumped up a little bit in the odds for the Super Bowl. They now have the second best odds to win the Super Bowl behind the Bills. They jumped the Chiefs for that spot. Then we've also got them as the favorites for the NFC champions. And Jalen Hurts now the second best odds for MVP. What do you make of their chances moving forward?
I would say all are very deserving there. Eagles have been just amazing this year. They've been great. Really, no team has even really pushed them. And unfortunately, looking at their schedule the rest of the way, there's not many teams that will.
Right. I was looking at their schedule, and I maybe could come across 2 games that could potentially trip them up. Ironically enough, it's NFC East opponents, Giants, and they have to play in Dallas against the Cowboys once more. A team that, kind of, I guess, kept up with them even with Cooper Rush as the quarterback. Now Dak Prescott is back. Looks like that Cowboys offense is rolling along, so they could give him some trouble down the line. That being said, the NFC East is now the NFC Beast. We had been calling them NFC least. And I sound like Dr. Seuss. Jalen Hurts been absolutely crushing it. Second in yards per attempt and second in rush yards among quarterbacks. It's been pretty incredible to watch his growth from 2 years ago. He was a quarterback that was one of the most susceptible to interceptions. And this year you get him some weapons and now he's rolling along.
Not to mention, when he was in college, he got replaced as the quarterback, and now he's in the front running for MVP. It's a pretty cool story.
Tyler, that still gives me PTSD from when Alabama beat my Georgia Bulldogs.
Sorry, I did that.
That's all right. Well, if you're watching us on YouTube right now, be sure to like this video if you're enjoying our content, subscribe to our channel, and sign up for those notifications. Also, check out the LineStar app. It's where we find all of our stats and information that we are about to give you for this Thursday night matchup, linestarapp.com. Let's get into these fantasy projections for this Thursday night game. While it might be a little lopsided, we still have a few plays that could generate a little leverage for you. Let's start off looking at Jalen Hurts and the rest of the Eagles. Hurts been on an absolute tear. Last week took a blowtorch to the Steelers defense, 285 yards and 4 touchdowns. Those 4 touchdowns were more than 25 yards each. That's a feat that hasn't been accomplished by any quarterback since 1980 by Dolphins great Dan Marino. He has an even more favorable matchup this week against a Houston team that ranks 31st in defensive DVOA. He could have an awesome game, which would also bode well for Team Shandogs in fantasy football. What do you forecast for him?
I mean, Hurts is in a great spot here. He has done really well in these lopsided games, so I'd expect him to do well again here today. The one worry you do have with him is that what this team has been doing all season is they've been passing and super aggressive for the first half. They get a big lead, and then they've been super run heavy. So you absolutely do need to worry a little bit about maybe, say, Sanders or the Philly running backs run a couple in, and then it's not on Hurts' shoulders, and his fantasy score obviously would be down because of that. But with that said, Hurts has been great in these lopsided games, so you would have to expect that to continue for this week.
One of his biggest weapons this season has been A.J. Brown. Last week he got 3 of the touchdowns of 4 touchdowns of Jalen Hurts through. He had 156 yards. That was a season high for him. And another favorable matchup for him this week, going up against a Houston Texans defense that ranks 28th in DVOA versus the opposing team's wide receiver 1. Brown was so good last week, they even drug tested him. Do we see another drug test after this game? What do you think?
Yeah, it was hilarious that he got drug tested literally the morning after that big game. Unfortunately, we've come to see that happens a lot. But so Houston's DVOA is pretty high. They're easy to pass on, but teams haven't really had to pass on them. And that's kind of the issue here. A.J. Brown, or wide receiver 1s versus Houston, have not done that well. Look at Robert Woods. Yeah, we'll give that one a pass because it was Malik Willis, and they didn't really use him much. But Devontae Adams before that, 8 for 95. You know, not really a standout performance. Kristen Kirk only had 1 catch. Mike Williams got to him, but you can kind of see how there's just not a ton of guys that have really, really got to them. Is he capable? 100%, but I kind of like the matchup for Devontae Smith a little more.
All right, so let's talk about Devontae Smith. He's averaging 60 yards per game this season, and going up against that defense, they rank 25th against wide receiver 2s in that DVOA stat, which I'm a big fan of, as you know, because it does take into account quality of opponent. What do you think?
Totally. No, I like that DVO stat as well, and this defense you can absolutely pass off. Philadelphia is going to be able to do whatever they want. The one worry with this pass offense is they're going to get a big lead in this first half, most likely. And if that happens, the second half, it's going to be all running game. But Devontae Smith has a great matchup here. Several wide receiver 2s have done pretty well against him or against Houston. I could see that happen again here.
Let's take a look at the tight end position. Interesting play here. Dallas Goedert, who actually ranks 7th in fantasy points among all tight ends that have played at least 5 games. Going up against a Houston defense that's 10th in pass DVOA versus tight ends. However, take into account the fact that they have not played a tight end that ranks in the top 10. So what do you think about his prospects for the game?
I actually like his prospects better than the wide receivers. Every time they faced a pass-catching tight end, the tight end has done well, and I would expect the same here. The one thing with Dallas Goedert this year is he's been super good catching the ball, getting yardage, but he hasn't been getting in the end zone. I think there's a really good chance that changes this week.
Let's take a look at the running backs now. Derrick Henry had an absolute field day against this defense last week. 219 rushing yards. I talked about how Jalen Hurts took a blowtorch to the Steelers defense. I don't know what's bigger than a blowtorch, because that was what Derrick Henry did to this Texans defense last week. What do you expect for the running backs for the Eagles?
Yeah, I think all of the Eagles running backs are in play. Like I said, in the second half, they've been very run heavy once they get that big lead. I would expect that to happen again this week. Obviously, the backfield is led by Miles Sanders, so he would be the obvious one to use as a captain here. But I think you can absolutely sprinkle in Boston Scott and Kenny Gainwell. I think they all could have a path to success. As far as what Houston has given up to running backs, 5 of the 7 games, one running back has had at least 25 points. So attacking with a running back is a really good way to go. It looks like ownership right now on them are low, and so I love it.
I mean, Houston defense ranks dead last in DVOA, my favorite stat, versus running backs.
The only team that did not run well against Houston was the Denver Broncos, and we've seen they can't do anything.
Anybody.
Jacksonville was okay, but they didn't lean on the run. I think it was total like 17 carries for like 97 yards between Robinson and Etienne. So not bad. It's just that they could, those guys could have done a lot more.
So let's talk about the Texans. We've just kind of blew up their defense a little bit, but hey, we got to do it.
But
let's talk about their offense.
too.
We're going to talk about quarterback Davis Mills, who's averaging 214 yards per game. He ranks 22nd in yards per game among quarterbacks. Not the best, and going up against a really good Eagles defense that ranks second in pass DVOA. What do you make of his matchup from a fantasy perspective?
I mean, you don't love it on the surface.
Right.
You know, they're down 14. He hasn't been a great quarterback. The one thing, though, to think about is he's likely going to be passing in the entire second half. In the first half, they're going to lean on Dameon Pierce, try and keep the game close. But in that second half, they're going to be forced to open it up. They're likely going to be down significantly. And with that said, you know, we can probably get a couple things done. Now we do have to put a little caveat there, asterisk, the wide receiver room for Houston's beat up.
Yes.
So Nico Collins is out. Brandon Cooks has missed 2 practices this week. He's officially listed as questionable, but it is a concern.
So let's take a look at the running back you just mentioned, Dameon Pierce, averaging 77 yards per game this season. Even though the Eagles' defense is really good, I believe they rank third or fourth in rush yards allowed per game. However, when you look at the DVOA, they actually rank 22nd. What do you see for Pierce's matchup?
Yeah, I think part of why Philadelphia statistically looks so good against the running backs is their offense is so good, and they keep getting out to these big leads that teams have not had the ability to lean on the run against them.
That's a good point.
And this is probably going to happen again this week, but they're going to keep going back to Pierce as much as they possibly can. And it was a good sign last week when they were down by 17 or whatever, and Pierce was still in the game and playing third downs. They're trying to get him more and more involved in passing situations.
You mentioned Nico Collins out in this one. That opens up a path for wide receiver Philip Dorsett in this one. Now he only has 66 yards on the season. Is this maybe a sleeper pick, though? What do you think?
Yeah, it is a sleeper pick. So I haven't really been too excited about Brandon Cooks throughout the year. One, he's not getting much target volume. Right. He's getting 4 or 5 targets a game. The wide receiver, too, for Houston is getting about the same. But these guys are way cheaper. So I definitely like Dorsett with similar target counts. The one thing you do have to worry about is the fact that he doesn't have that big playability like Cooks. Right. So if you're looking to get that, you could probably go Chris Moore also.
And then what do you make of the tight end situation? This Philly defense, very good and effective against tight ends so far this season, 6th in pass DVOA versus the tight end position. One of the things is you talked about price tag on a lot of players. You can't load up on all the Eagles because they're going to cost you. So what do you think of the tight ends here?
I actually really like the tight ends in this spot. But it's weird because Houston has 3 that they're using. They're using Jordan, Howard, and Atkins. And it's really been like random as far as which one of them has the good game. So Howard and Jordan are both playing just a little over 50% of the snaps. Atkins is like 25 to 30%. So obviously Atkins is, probably the least likely of them to have that game. But I really like the idea of trying to pick one of those in the large field GPP contests. Their ownership is super low, and Mills has been using the tight ends a lot. So I think one of them probably ends up in the optimal lineup. And there's a very good chance this week that we have, say, 5 Eagles and 1 Houston in the optimal DraftKings lineup.
That being said, who are some potential MVPs? And also, how do you balance out picking the right Eagles players and pairing them with, I guess, what's your strategy there?
For that, I would have to say kind of figure out a story in your mind as far as how the game goes and then make the lineup based on that.
Right.
So as we know, Eagles have been above passing above expectation for the first half of the game. If they do that again and they come out throwing and trying to get a big lead, then that's the way pass catchers are in there. And then if that is the case, you may want to sprinkle in, a pass catcher on the Houston side, because Houston will likely have to throw as well and throw a little earlier.
Yeah.
But going back to your question, favorite captains, whatnot, I really like Miles Sanders. I think he's coming in low-owned captain or MVP spot. Obviously, you got to go Jalen Hurts. He can run one or two in, and high likelihood of that happening. Devontae Smith, I like. Dallas Goedert, I like. Pretty much all of the Eagles. As far as Houston, if they're in this game, it is going to be because of Dameon Pierce. So he would be my option.
Ultimate captain. Leverage play there.
Yeah. and that is one thing, though, to think about, though. Everybody, including me, including you, thinks the Eagles are absolutely going to just wipe Houston this game. So if you build where Houston stays in this game, you're going to be different. Not that many people are going to be doing that.
All right, so some good fantasy analysis. Tyler's breaking it all down for us, and the information is available to you as well, linestarapp.com. Check it out. We've got your lineup optimizer. It's a great tool for you. Everything you need in one place, linestarapp.com. Let's get to our injury report. I know you alluded to them earlier. I usually do it at the top of the show, but I was so excited about our daily fantasy that slipped my mind. Right. So let's get to the injuries here. Taking a look at some graphics that are courtesy of sixscore.com. It's a great website that will give you all of the analysis on the injuries and what it means. It's a great website to check before you place any bets or play daily fantasy. So we're going to look at the Houston Texans defense with a SIX score of 82.1. Remember, you've got defensive tackle Malik Collins out with a chest injury. We've got Jonathan Greener, defensive end for them. He's on the IR with a calf injury. You've also got Kevin Pierre-Louis, IR with a groin injury, and cornerback Desmond King, questionable. Linebacker Christian Harris, questionable. So they're a banged-up defense as well. That's something to consider. Meanwhile, the Eagles offense looking good, very healthy, does not bode well for that Texans defense. Along. Now let's look at the Eagles defense with a SIX score of 91.4, which is pretty good at this point in the season. Defensive tackle Jordan Davis, though, my Georgia Bulldog, is out in this one with an ankle injury. You've also got cornerback Josiah Scott out with an ankle injury as well. Taking a look at the Texans offense, 84.2 is their SIX score, and we got some big playmakers here. We got wide receiver Nico Collins out with a groin injury, and wide receiver Brandon Cooks is questionable with a wrist injury.
Yep. So, and also to note on that one, I said it earlier, but he has missed two practices this week, Tuesday and Wednesday. Yeah. Haven't said exactly why, but
on these short weeks, you see a lot of guys just say, you know what? Just sit this one out.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday there was a lot of talk about everybody thought Brandon Cooks was getting traded. Okay. He didn't get traded, and then he also sat out today. So there's something going on. Not sure what it is.
So make sure to check out sixscore.com for your injury reports before you play any daily fantasy or place your prop bets. Now let's get to some props and some sports betting. We'll start off with our touchdown calls for Thursday Night Football Week 9. Tyler, where are you headed for an anytime touchdown in this Thursday night game?
With Miles Sanders, Philadelphia Eagles running back, to run one in, help Team Shandogs also.
Oh, yeah.
I love his prospects to succeed this week, and they're going to be running the ball on the ground, and Miles Sanders the most likely to get a touchdown on the ground.
I'm going A.J. Brown for an anytime touchdown at plus 105. He's got the third best odds to have a touchdown in this game. He had 3 last week, so that was against a Steelers defense, and this is an even more favorable matchup for him, as the Houston Texans rank 29th in defensive DVOA versus opposing offenses wide receiver ones. And he's also got the most targets of anyone in this game in the red zone, 9 red zone targets for him this season. Downtown A.J. Brown takes it to the house in this one.
I like it.
Lock it in there. A.J. Brown's been awesome. It's nice to see some of those wide receivers help Jalen Hurts out a little bit, so he's not all by himself. And we love to see it. Team Shandog has both the Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders. Little dynamic duo right there.
Team Shandog's going to be in trouble if they don't really put up numbers.
Sure am. Now it's time for our prop bets of the game. Tyler, where are you going in the prop market?
Going for a different one here. People aren't going to like it. We're going Dameon Pierce over 61.5 rushing yards. We have him projected much higher. He is a great running back. They're leaning on him. He's averaging 77 a week. I think he gets the 61.5 easily.
I'm going to your touchdown call of the game. I'm going running back Miles Sanders over 79.5 rushing yards. That it's at minus 114 in the sports books. Sanders is averaging 80 rush yards per game this season and tied for 7th in the league in rushing yards, which is a bit of a crazy proposition, especially when you consider who his quarterback is. Jalen Hurts takes a lot of those rushing numbers away from him, but he still produces. Going up against a Houston defense that ranks dead last in rush defense DVOA. Miles Sanders is going to have himself a touchdown and get your prop, and then he's going to get those rushing yards to hit my prop, as well as helping Team Shandog win this week in fantasy football.
We're saying over 80 yards and a touchdown for Miles Sanders this week.
I also think just the game plan, you talked about a little bit earlier, how maybe they'll air it out a little bit in the beginning, get the score up, and then they're just going to pound the rock from there.
I mean, it's what they've been doing all year round, so I would not be surprised at all if that's what happens. And some of these backup running backs probably get in the end zone too. I just couldn't go there for a touchdown call. Got to go with the most likely.
We want people to win on our Twitter contest.
It's all for the people.
By the way, if you aren't playing along with us on our Anytime Touchdown contest, follow us on Twitter, and if you retweet our touchdown calls tweet, you could have a chance to tail any one of us in our touchdown calls. If they find the end zone, you win. That's how easy it is. Now let's take a look at our game picks for this week in this Thursday night game. I'm going to guess you're going Eagles in this one. 14-point favorites.
14, though. That is a lot of points, and I'm still taking those.
I still don't think that is quite enough in this game when you consider who they're going up against, especially when the injuries came into. I could see that number going even higher than 2 touchdowns. It started, last time I looked at it, was minus 13, so people are, the public is backing the Eagles in this one pretty hard. So I think the play here is for the Eagles to cover in this one. They are basically a money printing machine for people that have backed him. They've covered 5 of the last 6 games. Yeah,
I like the minus 14, but I don't love it just because of how the Eagles play. Because they go so conservative once they have a big lead. It's not like the Bills where the Bills just stay on the gas. Eagles definitely pull their foot off the gas.
There is a path to. I just don't see the Texans coming close to that.
Yeah, I don't think they can keep up. So
the game total in this one, 44.5. What do you make of the game total in this one?
Eagles could have 44.
Hammer the over. Get those hammers out, folks. I'm going over as well. Let's go. Let's see some points for once in this Thursday night game, shall we?
Right.
Gosh. That's the only concern I have.
It is. It is
the game
only
total
concern.
is. Nobody seems to want to score on Thursday night football. So let's get some scoring going. If anyone can do it, it's Jalen Hurts and that Eagles offense. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, make sure to like our video. If you're enjoying our content, subscribe to our channel, sign up for notifications. Remember, if I can talk, I've just been doing a lot of talking, so sorry about that. Remember to check out linestarapp.com for all of your daily fantasy information, and we've also got a nice props edge tool to help you place your bets, finds the best leverage for you in terms of the sports books, and it also has options for PrizePicks and Underdog Fantasy, which, by the way, if you don't already have them, make sure to download them. We have the promo codes listed below, and you could get up to $100 of your deposit match plus 2 free months of Line Stars. You can just test out the waters of the Line Star app, which you will end up loving.
Not a bad deal.
Thursday night football.
Yep.
Let's go. Good luck to you in your daily fantasy. Go crush it out there. Let's crush these props. Good luck. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.
Have a good one, guys. Bye.